Hello, I am the holistic travel nurse, and in this interview, I'm super, super excited to have my new friend on, Melinda. She is a best-selling author of Anchor to Your Strengths, which I plan to read. I'm super excited about that. And you're a aromatherapist, and so you have aromatherapy with. Explain the other book, Melinda. You have to explain that. And then you are in a magazine, you're a aromatherapist, you're an oil educator, you're a motivational speaker, you're a business coach, and you're living in the UK. I'm like super excited. Like I have like so many questions because of that. So explain the books though first, because I know that I want my audience to see that they have this massive resource with your books that I plan to pick up. I didn't know what your books. So
Okay, wonderful. So yes, thank you so much for having me on today. I've written 2 books so far. Book number 3 will actually come out September 2019, so just in a few weeks here. The first book I wrote is called Anchor to Your Strengths, which is a guide to anchoring your essential oils to your results if you've taken the Gallup Strengths Finder assessment. The Strengths Finder assessment is doTERRA's chosen way to focus on business development and personal development as you grow your business. And it just made perfect sense to tie each of those 34 strengths to our favorite thing, essential oils, and teach you how to anchor that strength to a very specific smell so that you can use it intentionally and on purpose and use your strengths every day in your business. That book went over really, really well, but many people came back to me and said they would like something to share with customers or to share with people who aren't into the strengths or haven't taken the assessment. So book number 2, which is called Aromatic Anchoring, is the same concept without the strength. So it's the idea of you choose your affirmation, you choose your word, you choose your emotion, and then how do you intentionally anchor that to a specific essential oil so that, let's say, you know you're getting on an airplane, right? You know you can use some lavender or some serenity, but what if you have created a mantra to help you with dealing with the anxiety of flying, and it's tied to a specific oil? So if you're on that plane and you start to feel anxious, you pull out that oil, then your brain is getting on your side. You've created a limbic connection. You've created a memory. You've created an anchor. So now you can use these essential oils to help you get back to a state of mind or to emotion that you've set intentionally. So anchor to your strengths is with strengths. Aromatic anchoring is without the strengths, more like joy, abundance, calm, whatever word, whatever state of mind you want. So those are those 2 books I have so far, published so far.
oh my gosh, that is so awesome because I've I just I don't know if you read this book, but I just listened to the book, The 3-Day Effect, and it made me think of the 3-Day Effect. And synths have such an incredible motion with our limbic system and such an incredible um, process where they really can trigger some great memories or bad things. So we can we can deal with them with our emotions so greatly. And that's just the beauty of nature. So I'm excited that you have put this together as a resource for friends because I have a lot of friends I have a lot on my team that are using the oils for their emotions. So this is going to support my team a lot. So I'm excited about sharing this with my team. It will help definitely a lot of people. And also people working in their own strengths because if people don't know their strength, they don't know how to blossom it. So that is really awesome too. So that you're working in your strength and then you're anchoring it to the right oils, you're just going to be more productive, right? So that's exciting. Now, you picked up and moved from California, like across the world to the UK, and that just blows my mind. With children, right?
Right. I have 3 children, yes.
And what inspired that big move?
Well, there was 2 different factors to it. One, I was at a corporate event where doTERRA was talking about where essential oils were growing around the world, and Europe and the UK were one of the markets that was really young and growing really quickly. And at the same time, my husband received news that his home office was going to be closing down, and they asked him to decide which other office we would like to transfer to. So we knew we were going to have to move somewhere anyway. And I just thought, we should go for it. We should have this adventure where we can give our children this international experience. He can go and have his same job. I can go and have my same job. At the moment, it just seemed like the best decision. It just seemed like everything fell into place. So we made the move because we wanted to be a part of the fantastic growth that is happening over here. And honestly, for me, I felt like I was in a place where I needed a change of scenery. I needed some fresh blood. I needed some fresh inspiration. And the challenge of almost starting over was really exciting for me because I knew it would be a moment for me to really stretch and grow and become the person I need to be for the next leg of my life and my journey.
So from California, what a different lifestyle of people to where you are. And are you more in the big city in the UK or a smaller town outside of? I'm not familiar with the area around there. So you have to
So
explain.
I am 1 hour south of London, which is nice because if I do want to go into a big city, I've got one in my, just a little bit up the road. My town has about 80,000 people in it, so it is one of the larger towns. But if you just go maybe 15 minutes, you are absolutely in the country with little tiny villages with no Wi-Fi at all. So I'm kind of have the best of both worlds. I'm next to the city and next to the country, and definitely a lot of culture shock. I think that was one of the interesting things for me moving here was, I've been with doTERRA since 2013.
Okay.
When I teach a class, I have a really good enrollment rate. That night I expect to close 80% of the people attending in my class. And when I moved here, I taught my first class and enrolled nobody, and taught my next class and enrolled nobody, and just went home and thought, what have I done? We've moved all across the country and I can't do doTERRA here. I can't do doTERRA in England. And really had to make adjustments to what I thought I had figured out, because of cultural differences. And the methods we're taught in the US don't necessarily work here. It's not what these people want and not what they want to hear, and you do have to do things differently. So definitely made me stretch and grow and realize just because something works one time, it's not going to work every time, and we need to keep growing and be open to change and open to improvement.
Absolutely. Since, I have been growing my business online, so it's not even the traditional way. And when I was trying to do what my upline did and how she did it, it didn't work for me. And so I had to find my own way, right? And growing, and this is why the podcast exists. This is why the YouTube exists here, so that I can grow my business this way. That's why I decided to do it. I would meet people that are super busy and didn't have the time to meet with me. I wanted to send them something that is uniquely me, educating them. And then now I want to support not just my team, other teams. I want to support a big community in all things natural, and have that same focus that I do when it comes to managing their health. And then looking at the possibilities of why doTERRA as a business is a no-brainer. That you can do it in any country almost now. And you can do it traveling in an RV like I do. You can do it, you picked it up and started in California, and then picked up and started a whole new team in a different country. It's so impactful. So with that said, I have to ask what your favorite single oils are. I know when someone asks you that, you can't come up with one. So just a couple of your top favorite oils.
All right. Well, my favorite oil is actually vetiver. I like to joke around that I sell more vetiver than anyone else in doTERRA.
Wow.
Because I'm always talking about it that much. I believe in it that much. So I'm assuming a lot of people will relate to this, that I started using essential oils for my children, for my family, for taking care of needs that they had. And after I'd been using essential oils literally for 2 years, I've thought, oh my goodness, why aren't I using them for myself? Like, mom who puts herself at the very end of the list. I was using them for everybody else. and finally had that moment where I thought, what if these oils can change my life? I have suffered from insomnia my entire life. I've suffered from anxiety and panic attacks my entire life. And I just thought, if I can get some better sleep, that will change my life. So I started experimenting with essential oils for sleep. And through that process, realized after about 4 months that I hadn't had a panic attack. Hadn't really noticed that I hadn't had one. Started paying attention more and brought it back down to vetiver. Vetiver is very relaxing to the central nervous system, to our muscles, to our mind, very focusing. And whatever it's doing that's supporting my sleep was correcting this other part just as a side effect. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about essential oils is when you're talking about side effects, they're good ones. So I was working on sleep, and all of a sudden my anxiousness and all of this other business over here was just going down and down and down until I was able to remove prescription medication from my daily life. Not saying this works for everybody, not a doctor, not diagnosing, but from my personal experience, vetiver was the key to me being able to be the person I was always supposed to be, right? I felt like I was back to my authentic self, being able to live my daily life the way I was supposed to be living it. And I think that for anyone who's dealing with nervousness, with anxiousness, give it a try. Just see what vetiver can do for you, because I just think it's such a miracle oil because it changed my life personally. If I had to choose a second favorite oil, it would be Copaiba. I think that's a miracle oil. I think it almost rivals frankincense, and that if you don't know what to do with something, just throw some of that on there and let's see what happens. And my favorite story with Copaiba was I have some misalignment issues with my spine. And so if I stand for very long, I start to get some body aches, and they can elevate pretty significantly. And I was at a standing only concert with my two teenage daughters. And I didn't want to be the mom that had to go sit down, right? I wanted to be on the floor with my kids the entire night. And I knew the price I would pay for doing that. And when the concert got over, it's 1 a.m. We had an hour and a half to drive home. I was significantly uncomfortable to the point where I was really dreading this drive home, wondering how I was going to manage it. But I had taught a class, and I had all my oils in the trunk of my car. And so I opened up that case and just thought, what am I going to put on to help me make this drive home? And I pulled out my Copaiba. I smeared it on my shoulder, not very much, just a drop or two, down my spine. And then, of course, after that concert, after any big event, you're always stuck in the the parking lot for a good 20 minutes, just waiting for you to queue, right? Just to get out of that bottleneck and to get onto the road. And by the time I made it to the road, my discomfort had just dropped so significantly. I wasn't pain-free, but it had just dropped so significantly that I thought, I'm okay. I can drive home. I can do this. I felt back in control of what was happening to me. And I've just seen that for myself and for so many other people who are dealing with discomfort on a daily basis. You should have Copaiba in your arsenal. So hands down, those two oils in particular have raised the quality of my life on a daily basis that I don't go anywhere without them.
There's so many of them that are sitting in my purse next to me here at the Starbucks, and Copaiba is probably was one of my favorites too. I just love it. And have you taken that and put it in your mouth internally?
I don't. I use them both topically.
Okay. I like Copaiba. Just a couple drops in my mouth. I have no problem with it. So everyone's different. I love it that way. Sorry for the loud noise in the background, you guys. At a Starbucks, real life, when you don't have really good Wi-Fi where we're at. And so what about blends? What are your favorite blends?
Well, it was vetiver and serenity that really helped me get a restful night's sleep. So serenity is one I always keep with me. And then I start every single day with balance and a dry brush. I don't know if you've tried dry brushing yet, but I feel like it's like that cup of coffee in the morning. Like, you don't need that cup of coffee if you're doing your dry brushing, because it is so invigorating, so energizing, so focusing. So I just put a couple drops of balance on my hand, and then I take the dry brush and rub it up and down. So now I've got the balance on my brush, and then I do a full dry brush in the morning. And I just feel like that starts the day grounded, capable. I think capable is the best word. I just feel like whatever happens today, I can deal with it. I can deal with my life. So balance starts the day, serenity ends the day.
Oh, it's so funny. No, we've been dry brushing a lot right now because we're gearing up to do a kidney cleanse for my husband. And it's so much important for dry brushing for your lymphatic system, as you know. And so we put oils on there that support vascular movement, such as cypress and things like that. And we do it more at night. We do the dry brushing. He doesn't do it in the day, and it's calming though to him. He just like it's so calming to him. So I highly recommend, and I highly recommend when people are dealing with their immune system, dry brushing. It's and incorporating the oils to it is awesome. One way we make it calming at night is that we do magnesium oil on the legs, and so because you know that you get magnesium will soak in with an oil. It doesn't blend well with the essential oils. We do that before the essential oils because magnesium oil is tingly to the skin. Can be if you've never used a magnesium. It's not an essential oil. It's just a mineral oil with magnesium in it. Because one way to increase your magnesium is to have it topically, either doing a bath with an Epsom salt with magnesium or the magnesium oil, and not having all the acid stomach if you are trying to increase your magnesium by taking a supplement that could cause a lot of issues with your digestive system if you have too much. So that's another way. And we put that on and then we dry brush. So that was just a technique we've been just doing, and I love it. So that's super cool. And then did you just know when you started with the oils that you wanted to do it as a business, or what was that decision? How did that decision come about?
I was using essential oils before I found doTERRA. I started using them in the very beginning to make my own cleaning supplies. I just wanted to get rid of some of the chemicals in my home, have a greener lifestyle, and slowly just started learning more about oils and using them for more things. So when I was introduced to doTERRA, I already had an essential oil background, so I absolutely went in it with the intention of starting a business from the very first time I signed up. Like I knew I was signing up with doTERRA to create a business. Mostly because at that point, you know, each member of my family had a very powerful story of how essential oils affected their life, and I couldn't keep it to myself. I just know there's so many other people out there seeking solutions. They need solutions. They've been told this is your life, you can't get any better, or be satisfied with this level of discomfort in your life because that's you, or here's the limitations your child is going to have when they grow up because this is them. And most cases that's not the case. In most cases, essential oils can change your lifestyle, can elevate your well-being, can give you something to hope for. And I wanted to be able to just provide as many people as possible with the option to try essential oils and see if it works for them.
Yes, I agree. I actually didn't get it as a business first, but and then you got into it as a business and then decided to pick up that business and go to the UK, which is so awesome. And there I have a team that will be growing in the UK, so you'll be able to support them. And I know, sorry about the background noise, a little bit of the products in the UK aren't some of the same products in the US. Will you talk about that?
Yes, so the products, the doTERRA system, we have our oils from all over the world, but they all eventually end up in the United States for bottling and packaging and then distributed back out to the world. So because they go to America first, it means they then have to pass further regulation to get back into Europe. Europe has much stricter guidelines for a lot of things, and so it takes a long time to get something approved. Depending on the claims, depending on the use. For example, our bottles can only say one type of use. It can say internal, topical, or aromatic. It can't tell you that one oil can be used for all three. That won't pass regulation. So we get things very delayed after the US, after Canada gets them. And some of them we don't get at all. However, we've just been notified that we are going to be getting our own manufacturing warehouse in Ireland, in Cork, Ireland. And once that happens, once we have our own facility, it means our oils will be shipped directly to our manufacturing site where they will be bottled and labeled in the UK. So we can get them out much faster and hopefully start getting products at the same exact time as the US, and perhaps even get regional essential oils just for Europe, the same way America has some of theirs that nobody else has. Japan has some of theirs no one else has. Australia has a few, right? There's some regional oils that we don't have enough for mass production, but we do have enough for a region. So we're hoping in the next year or two, the UK will be up to par with the other countries.
That is super exciting news. I'm excited about that because well, we get a lot of the oils grown in Europe. I only can think of lavender, but I'm sure you can think of more that are right in from the UK that are all from that will come to us. You know, Bulgaria's lavender. I can't think of any others. You can probably think of more that are from Europe of some area.
Right. There's a lot of countries, you know, most of our citruses come from Sicily and Italy, right? We've got France, we've got Bulgaria, we've got a lot of European places.
Yeah.
So even just the carbon footprint, right, of being able to ship these within Europe instead of having to send them to America and then send them back, this will definitely decrease fuel usage. And, you know, and all of these things where we try to be a more greener company, this will definitely help in that area as well.
That is really, really cool. Now, as far as the business side, we'll just talk a little bit about the business here. And what are you can tell me your rank as someone understands what rank is, and how long it took you to grow to the rank that you're at. So you're currently
I'm a gold.
Right now,
Yes.
and we're recording this in August of 2019. If you're listening to this later, I'm sure she'll be a different rank.
I'm sure as well. So yeah, my journey, obviously after 6 years being gold, was not a fast journey, right? I'm not one of those people that hit diamond in their first 4 months. When I first started, it really was just about customers. I was really just trying to help people with natural solutions. So for the first 2.5 years, I sat at Elite because I only had customers. I did not have any builders. I didn't really have a lot of structure. I didn't really have direct mentoring from my upline to really guide me to take the next step. So I just kind of sat there and I was happy because my oils were getting paid for, right? It was free and I was helping people. It felt good to me. And then my husband was diagnosed with cancer, and it was not a scary cancer. Like there are scary cancers, there are less scary cancers, but he's fine. At the same time, he will always have cancer. Like he doesn't have one of those that he actually gets to be in remission from. And so all of a sudden doTERRA meant something a little differently to me, because if at some point he can't work, then my paycheck has to provide for my family. And so it felt good and natural for me to step it up because it was something I already loved and was so passionate about, and definitely something I felt I was competent to share with the world. So I decided, all right, it's time for me to start doing this a little more seriously and start rank advancing. And I actually read Kelly King Anderson's book, Enrolling Leaders Who Enroll. And that really, really was the key to changing my mindset from supporting customers to knowing how to find and cultivate builders. So read her book and jumped from Premier, and then jumped from Premier to Silver. And that all happened fairly quickly. And then I had one of those beautiful doTERRA moments where everything fell apart. So, you know, leaders quit. Leaders who were very profitable quit. People moved away and decided they weren't going to start it up again once they moved away, right? I went from a nice solid silver structure to nothing really, right? Everything I had built kind of fell apart. So I scraped together and hit gold, and it was just too hard. It was too hard to maintain gold on my own without having any builders, without having other people enrolling on my team, because every enrollment I got was just plugging holes. I wasn't able to move forward. It was just trying to create this thing that didn't want to be created. So when I moved to the UK, I actually dropped all the way back down to Premier because I made the conscious decision I wasn't going to fill holes anymore. I wasn't going to plug in all of the gaps. I was going to work with builders who wanted to build, and I was going to give my energy where there was energy to be created, and I wasn't going to force anyone to do the business with me. It was going to be beautiful and organic, and it was going to be with people who wanted to be with me and who wanted to grow doTERRA. So that was another mind shift change where I stopped clawing and stepped back and said, okay, what am I creating? Right? I'm not clawing anymore, I'm creating. And I've been able to find really beautiful, authentic people who want to share doTERRA with others. And so been able to climb back up to the ranks. And my goal is to have platinum under my Christmas tree. That's what I've said. That that the Santa baby song, having the platinum mine. That's my mantra, is I'm getting that platinum mine for Christmas this year. So that's my goal within the next 5 months, really, to take that next step and hit platinum, and then diamond in 2020. So I think it's important to remember that it was actually Andrew Donovan, he's a diamond, who said, you never go backwards. Even if your rank is going backwards, you're not going backwards, because the next time you go for that rank, you're going in it with the expertise and experience and knowledge that you have now that you didn't have the first time you did it. You're still progressing, you're still growing every step, regardless of what the rank says. You're still growing and advancing your business. And I feel like that's a lot of what I've been able to do, is learn those lessons. And now I feel so much better and stronger about how I'm creating my business and what's happening. So that's a bit about how my journey has gone.
Well, no, you gave me books that you've made me a list of like books that I need. You have to just write them down for me, because I didn't know about Kelly's book. And I want to know about your book, because I'm sure they'll have it on sale when I go out in September with Aroma Tools. I love buying my resources there. And then I love like reading a book, and if it's good, I'll hold on to it. If not, I'll buy two. One that I know purposely I can share with somebody else. And so now you've given me a couple books of knowledge. And so that is really helpful. And then helping somebody else know that you don't hit rank over, like, you hear those stories and you feel like you have to be like that or you're not succeeding. And that's not true. It's a slow growth is growth. And yes, I got to elite, and then almost hit premier, and then just kind of staggered back some. And so you make steps forward, and then they kind of go back, but you know that you're making steps in progress. And we're not in a race, so to speak. doTERRA is not going anywhere, and they, like you said, in the market where you're at, I bet you find a lot of people that have never even heard of them in the UK.
True.
Right?
Yep.
As I've traveled, I've found the same thing, where in Colorado, where I'm from, a lot of people do know about them there. Not all, but there's a big portion. But I am now on the East Coast, and the East Coast, not so much. People don't know what you're talking about. And so people think that it's overpopulated, or that's just hogwash. There's always somebody that has never heard of them. I had my one-on-one yesterday with someone from Texas who's never heard of them. So there's always a whole bunch of untapped areas. So, and I've learned also, like you have, that it is so much on mindset. I didn't have a good mindset for when I started the business. I had to walk away from the business with just family issues. And then when I got back into it, I realized that it is me that can hold it back, but not having the proper mindset. And so I think that's helpful. And I think that, like, your book with the oils and the strength, it really helped, because if you're working in your strength, you're going to be more productive, and you're going to be a happier person, and you're going to actually do more than trying to do something like somebody else did it. So work within your strength, work within the way you do things, and people will connect with you. So if you're listening to this and you're connecting with her and you're in the UK, you can connect with Mindy. I will give you her information. You can email her. She will more than likely schedule some time to talk to you, correct? And if you're watching this on the YouTube, same thing. If you are in the UK area or somewhere else and you want to connect with her and get her book or have a conversation with her, I bet you they can schedule some time with you. I know your time is limited, so I really appreciate that you're going to be doing this, and that you've also put it out there that you've written these books that are going to be supportive to other users. Um, and I love that you can share each other's stories and glean understanding um, and know that it's for everybody. You know, we limit ourselves with our wrong mindset. And so I love that you see the same thing where we need to be in the right mindset to grow and the right mindset because you've blessed so many lives. And then those people that your builders can have blessed and reached people that you couldn't, right?
Right.
So it's just having that mindset too, that there are so many people out there who knew, and you can see and you can tell because you were using oils before, the difference between doTERRA and other oils. Maybe you should talk on that just a little, and then we'll end with that, because that's so important that people understand doTERRA's difference than everybody else.
Right. Yeah, and for people who do want to get in touch with me, I have a group specifically for people in doTERRA who are growing a business. It's called Strengths with Melinda and Jeremy. So if you do want the personal development coaching, that's the best group to join. Anyone can join as long as you're doing doTERRA as a business. So I'll send you that link as well.
Oh, awesome.
But yes, I was using essential oils for about 3 years before I joined up with doTERRA. And the one that really convinced me was frankincense. I had frankincense. I think I had 2 or 3 different companies' frankincense. And I was with a master herbalist, and she said, well, smell mine. And I remember grabbing that bottle from her and holding it to my nose and pulling it away and looking at the label because I thought she had handed me the wrong oil. I mean, that's how much the frankincense smelled different from the frankincense I had at home. And I just thought, like, why is this? Why don't they all smell the same? This is very strange to me, right? Why isn't peppermint, peppermint, peppermint? If it's all from a peppermint plant, they should all smell exactly the same. Why aren't these oils smelling the same? And I realized one of the most important key elements of why doTERRA essential oils are different than any other essential oil on the market is because we have direct relationships with our farmers and distillers. We know who they are. We know the farms. We know the ground that they're being grown on. We know exactly. You talk to a lot of essential oil companies, they don't even know what country their oils have come from, let alone the farm, because they're just buying large batches from wholesalers who are collecting it from many different sources. And there's a real lack of control over the quality when you're buying from a wholesaler because it's passed so many hands by that point. And everyone, of course, is saying, oh, it's pure, it's good, but they don't go through the thorough testing to actually verify those statements. There are, I think it's 54 now, 54 different types of tests that doTERRA runs their oils through, looking for adulteration, looking for synthetics, looking for dilution, testing the soil for pesticide residue, all the way up till it's reaching your door in your home. We have so many different partnerships with universities and hospitals where they're using them with very delicate situations. It better be exactly what it says on the bottle if you're going to be using them with real life patients, right? Like there is a trust and a quality that has to be met if you're going to be bringing these into a surgical setting or into a neonatal setting, right? Like there's some significant implications if these oils aren't pure. And doTERRA is the one that people are trusting in these situations. You can smell the difference. You can feel the difference. You can trust and understand that the farmers and the distillers are actually getting paid living wages. and that we are not damaging the planet, but we are actually sustaining endangered species and helping to protect native species. Every step of the way, this is a company that you can feel good about. There's so much integrity from start to finish that you just get to feel good about your job and good about what you're doing for the planet and good about what you're doing for your leaders, where you're helping them create money and freedom, and for your customers as you help them elevate their lives. Like, it's just good. You just get to feel good every day you wake up that you've partnered with such an amazing company. It's absolutely a difference every step of the way, hands down. Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. And now I bet you've also set a different health standard to your kids, that they know what to do and what to grab with each oil. I wish my kids would have had them definitely when they were younger. And I really hope to reach out to more moms and new moms, and knowing that they have something natural and pure to help with their children. It will make it. That's what saved me in my story. It just like it was something I've been looking for, and I've spent thousands of dollars trying to find at a health food store. Didn't find what I was looking for ever until I found doTERRA, that made a huge difference in managing my child's health, and then did a whole bunch for myself that I wouldn't be where I want to be. Actually, if I were on an island and stranded, I'd want to take oils. Maybe a few comfort things, but I was thinking oils for sure. And so I am the crazy oil nurse that way, where they're always with me. So
Melinda, thank you for so much for being upon this podcast. And thanks for you listeners for listening to this conversation. And I apologize for all the background noise for when I record it with her. I do travel full time and my Wi-Fi can go back and forth. And I have to do this with Wi-Fi with the interviews, and I happen to be at a coffee shop. So I apologize for the background noise. I thank you for still listening. I hope that you gleaned some incredible benefits that you have learned about using oils to grow your strengths, to help your mindset, to aid in sleep and rest, that could help with many aspects of your life. If you've never experienced doTERRA essential oils, why wait? Email me or Melinda. It will be in the show notes. You can reach out to us. If you want Melinda's book on the strengths and the oils because you're growing a doTERRA business or another business and you really just need to work on your mindset and working in your strengths, absolutely, I will have that in the show notes. Please support her in purchasing that book. And thanks again so much for listening to this. And please go ahead and share this with somebody. I know there's somebody out there that this will help.